Hello and welcome. Season 3, episode 4 of the D Hoop University podcast. This is your boy Darrell Harris, also known as D Hoopster. I hope y'all recognize I put emphasis on the D Hoop University. It's kind of like an Ohio State gimmick, you know. Shout out Ohio State. The boys going to the college football championship. Just a nugget that might have went past y'all's ears. 50, 60 something episodes in. Nah, I'll let you in on the insider. Welcome in. Tonight, whenever you're listening, watching, we are joined by my dog Jacob Awada. He runs awfully viral Hoops media account that you might that a lot of relevant information has sourced from. So I got the source with me right now, man.
Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you.
He's joining me from the land. We'll start with shout outs like we always do, but I'll let you talk to the people for a second. Jake, what's up, bro?
Yo, D Hoop. Thank you, bro, for having me back. Listen, guys, I'm a big fan of D Hoop University. I listen, I support because it's good substance. It's like good quality content. You get in-depth content. You get good analysis. It's not just like inside the NBA, just rambling and, disregarding players. But it's a pleasure. Yeah, just talking, bro. So yeah, it's a pleasure to be on. I love being on. I love talking hoops with Darrell, my longtime friend, and I'm excited to be back on the podcast, bro. So thanks for having me.
Of course, man. Likewise. Let's get this out the way so that way we can talk hoops. But I have to, honestly, man, podcasting, I've always called this thing a passion project because I've been a pod listener for a long time. And whoever listens to pods, you kind of know that when you turn one on, it's sort of an escape. Like you can do whatever you're doing, but whether it's the conversation or the people on the podcast that you've sort of grown an attachment to just from the inside jokes and references or whatever the topic is, people come back to podcasts for more than just basketball, more than just politics, more than whatever. It's a community. I hope that anybody listening to this that has been impacted by these ridiculous wildfires, man, I hope that this is 30, 40 minutes to an hour, who knows how long of a little bit of a getaway. I hope that sports in general can provide that, or whatever it may be, man. That thing, it's depressing. It's devastating for those who, like I said, have been impacted. And, I work in news as well. So I've been like immersed in it as well. And it's hard to believe, bro. It's hard to believe, man. Like it really stings. Even me not being in Cali right now, not having been in Cali for years now. It's pretty hard to wrap your head around, and we're in the early stages of it, but we're resilient people. That doesn't take away from the gravity of it all.
Yeah, bro. It's been crazy. Like we're not in the heart of LA, obviously. And like when you lived here, you were probably a little bit closer by Carson and that region. But it's just it's crazy to really digest the fact that this is one of the biggest catastrophes that's happened to Southern California, like in its time. And like we're living it right now. So many people have lost their homes. So many people have lost their businesses. So many people have been impacted in so many different ways. And there's nothing really you can do for a variety of factors except, try to check up on people, make sure people are okay, to pray for them, to offer them any sort of physical assistance if possible, emotional assistance, whatever the case is. But Yeah, definitely. I'm so happy you brought that up because our thoughts and our prayers are with them, and we're thinking of every single person. And I know Darrell's a faithful person, and I think we
Hmm.
should take like a moment of like a quick nice small prayer just to really to think
I'm
of
all the
them.
way with you, bro, because as you were saying that, I was like, you know what? I need to take this opportunity. When I had Jalen on here, aka Big Jace, you heard him on the intro. I'd let him know. I was like, hey, man, for one, you've always kept your faith relevant in your music. You've never had a project where you didn't incorporate some of your beliefs behind it. And I was like, I admire that, I respect that. Don't do that too often on here, but that's a missed opportunity for, for example, not to beat anybody over the head. Everybody's entitled to their own beliefs, whatever that may be. But like you said, it's difficult to feel like you're doing your part to want to help beyond financial resources or literal products or just not being there. There's ways to get involved, but 100% that's something that we can do right now, man. And we just want to uplift everybody. We want to pray for peace. We want to pray for peace at this time because
Absolutely.
it's a long road ahead for a lot of families, a lot of individuals, kids, and we believe, like I said, in resilience and endurance that people will see it through. That nobody that is impacted, I don't believe, has the spirit of just giving up right now. So that will sustain families and get them through this. Reason why I reference, this pod maybe being an escape is because, yeah, that's the most that I envision and would want for people is to have peace, man. Have peace. Know that tomorrow's going to come. Tomorrow's going to be better than yesterday.
Yeah, that I mean that's the mentality you have to have.
Yeah.
And I think, back in 2020 when Kobe passed away, it was such a shocker to so many people, and it hit us so hard that it really.
So I'll let you go. So spot on that you mentioned that because the conversations I've had the last 2 days, I kept using that second reference that not living in LA anymore.
Mhm.
That felt so bizarre internally because I felt like I was there, but I wasn't. And then like watching some stories of folks who are there, maybe at the arena, maybe went down to Staples, whatever. It's kind of when I get a reality check that I'm not. 100% that's another event that has been in my mind.
Yeah, but it's the fact that that specific moment, I felt like a lot of people were forced to kind of wake up. Like it was used as a kind of nudge to really reassess and to self-reflect on your own life, your goals, your path.
Yeah.
Like
Your approach.
what do
Yeah.
you prioritize? Like, life is so like Kobe was on top of the world. He was doing so many great things. He was gonna do so many great things. And
Legend.
just like that, it all kind
Nobody
of
thought
stopped.
that the story had ended or was
Exactly.
or was approaching some sort of conclusion.
Yeah.
And right, that eye opening. This is enlightening on many, many levels. On a real estate level, on a government level, local, state, interstate. Use this time to dig in and maybe get a little bit more informed about something that you weren't prior as well. There's a lot of misinformation out there, but information is also readily accessible and have these conversations and we'll begin this transition to basketball, but
Yeah.
that's what's on our hearts, that's what's on our minds, and it'd be a little irresponsible to act like people aren't going through a lot right now. And with that being said, man, try and talk some hoops.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because on Hoops Hall, I'll like post a little bit about what's going on, and then like I'll go post a story about what's like just something in the NBA. And it feels like there's like this huge shift of like this is a super serious moment, but then like I'm also posting content, and I feel weird when I just kind of, balance that
Yeah,
line. But
it's
it
almost a
brings joy.
survivor's guilt, which
Yeah.
you had nothing to do with it. But right, I know what you mean, man. It's just one of those times, man. And time does its thing. That's one of my favorite sayings. Time always does its thing. So let's let time do his thing.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah,
Shout out
hoops
to
is an
everybody
escape.
who's going through it, man. Y'all are warriors.
Yeah.
Um, this is a segment that I introduced on the second pod, maybe the first of this season, but it's called Who's Hooping.
Hmm.
Who's Hooping, man? Self-explanatory. I'll throw one out there for tonight. Domantas Sabonis, 23 points, 28 rebounds.
On the road in Boston.
No De'Aaron Fox. And they
Yeah.
got a double-digit victory. It wasn't close. Kings have won 6 in a row. The Kings are hooping. I saw a great tweet today. We know that they made a change for Doug Christie late December. I was a little bummed about that because I'm a Mike Brown general supporter. I just kind of like
It's weird.
want him to land on his feet, but he's had a roller coaster journey through the league. But they're 6-1, 6-1 since letting him go, and on a 6-game winning streak right now. They
Yeah.
were a couple games out of the play-in race, and right now they're sitting at ninth, man.
Yeah. I mean, I have someone I want to say, but I want to just touch on that real quick. I feel like he just signed an extension in the offseason, right? Everybody was envisioning him to be there for a long time. And when you fire your head coach like that and you hear names on the trade block, it kind of is like a wake-up call too, of like, damn, like they just fired him and they paid him. So we're all up for grabs.
Right.
Nobody knows what's gonna happen.
Only a
It's
year or two removed from Coach of the Year.
exactly right. So it's like extra motivation and like we really gotta prove because if we keep losing, we can't really blame the coach anymore because he's gone. So
Mm-hmm.
we just gotta play. And if we don't do well, we're gonna be out of here or we're not gonna get a new contract, no contract extension, all those things. So I like that pick. They definitely
There
have
was a
quickly
there
made
was a
the
dope
turn.
there was a dope tweet that said Doug Christie coaches like he's still wearing 13 guarding Kobe.
You're getting cooked because Kobe's unguardable, in my humble opinion, and the greatest of all time, which I know you disagree with, but that's a
He
different topic.
tried. No, he tried.
All
You
right,
know
bro.
what? Let me write that down so we can revisit that really quick at the end of this pod. I got something, a footnote on that, but go
All
ahead with who
righty,
else you
all
wanted to
righty.
mention.
So I'm
Who's
not going to
hooping?
mention. So of course, there's Cleveland, right? And variety of sources. They beat OKC yesterday, or was it a couple days ago? I think it was yesterday. One of the best games of the regular
Yeah,
season.
2 days ago.
2 days ago, one of the best games of the regular season. Super exciting. Two small market teams that just played good basketball at a high competitive level. And like JJ Redick said it best. He said if you want to beat Cleveland, you have to play like nearly perfect basketball, and that's the only way. There's a versatile with Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell offensively, and then you got Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley defensively, and they can both spread the floor. Mostly Evan Mobley, but insane. And OKC, of course. But besides those, specifically, I need this man to get more credit. He's been slept
Uh-oh.
on. He's been disrespected. You know what I'm gonna say?
Nah, give me some more clues.
All right. He's been slept on. He's been disrespected. He's been thrown in the trade market. He's been his contract seems immovable.
Brad?
Definitely not Bradley Beal, although Bradley Beal is a faithful person and I love him. So I posted
All
about him
right.
yesterday. Zach LaVine.
Jimbo? Oh,
Zach
okay.
LaVine.
There we go. Hey, look, man. I
Zach
did the
LaVine.
nightly I did the nightly post tonight. I'll get into what that is in just a few minutes. But basically in that it's a blog recapping the night in real time and putting a bow on it at the end of the slate of all of the NBA action. And we put the top performers on the list, which is kind of fun to go back to the night. All right, if I had to just limit to the who had the 5 best stat lines or the 5 best games, it's funny. I've done like 4 of these now. You almost can't do it and not include Shea, Jokic, Wemby, Giannis. One of
Yeah.
those 4, like you or 2, or Karl Anthony Towns this season as well. You almost can't put one of
Hooping.
those lists together without one of those names. And I got 4, and I was like, I said, let me get 5 because there were some hoopers tonight. And I said, I got to give Zach. I put Zach at number 5. It was his 5th straight 30-point game,
Yeah.
joining DeRozan and Michael Jordan as the only players to do so in Bulls history.
And I think he's so slept on because this is what I'm realizing about the NBA. Perception is everything, right? Um, I guess also the agenda is everything. If you get labeled as something in the NBA, probably something negative, it's really hard to shake that off. So Zach was hurt.
Yeah.
He was hurt. He had and not the best season last year. And even, at times in the beginning of the year, although he started off really strong, and then it just became they overpaid for him. Uh, he's injury
Yeah.
prone.
Empty
He's
offense.
empty. But I saw this on Twitter today, and I was actually gonna make a post about it. So I haven't done it yet, but you guys can hear it first. I was, they were comparing Devin Booker and Zach LaVine's stats side to side, right? And they were saying, you know, it's like they have those memes of some guy, he's like, oh, rich and broke, or like broke and like no good. And then it's like a girl, and it's like, oh, like strong, empowered. That's what it is. That's what it is. Because Zach LaVine is averaging, in my opinion, he's having a better season. He's having better numbers. He's been healthy. He has a large contract, but the CBA is going to reconstruct, and that is going to go up again with what you can spend for players with that new TV deal also, and it's not going to be that bad. But because he's had this perception and he's been shopped on the trade market for so long,
Right.
it's like,
And it's tough to tell. I saw a graphic too of how teams are performing versus their record last year through this many games. Interestingly enough, every team had a list down the middle, and either you went to the right if you're doing better, to the left if you were doing worse. Only two teams were right in the same spot. It was the Bulls and the Lakers.
the
And
Lakers always end up in the same, but they're fourth in the West, bro.
you know what I mean? We slipped tonight a little bit just because we didn't play, and we're missing games because they're getting postponed now.
And tomorrow,
But
yeah, yeah.
a Bulls fan said this is the most Bulls thing ever. But it's tough to see the best version of a player when they're not in a competitive playoff contending environment, you know? And that's it. That we could stay on LaVine and Booker because I've went to bat for Booker quite a bit this
I
year.
love D-Book. I mean, you saw how they were talking about him in Team USA too. Every single player, every coach, he's
That's
MVP,
that
playing
that that was
defense.
my perspective coming in. I said I think he's made a leap that's not numbers based. I think he's made a mental leap off of the Team USA exposure
As a leader, or what are you referring to?
as a leader with confidence, knowing that and knowing how to win. I think that he's been wanting to get back to the finals since 2020, 2021, whenever that was, and
Some thoughts
got a
over that.
taste. And it's like, okay, I know I can score, but we need to win. And I've got to play defense to do that. Some days I need to distribute to do that. Some days I got to let it fly. And you can sort of see that night to night. He's been on an assist tear as well for the
He's a point
past week or
guard.
so.
He really is a
He's
point
he's
guard.
versatile, man. I'm a big fan of Book now, and I've got him in fantasy this year, so I'm invested like that.
No,
But
now it makes sense why you're a
yeah,
big fan.
yeah, yeah.
And I love Devin Booker. I love Devin Booker too. Like he's one of the few NBA players that I've gotten
Mm,
to like have an interaction with, and he signed a basketball jersey like that.
lit.
Like his jersey for me, like it was cool.
I recall. That's right.
Yeah, like I of course I'm biased, so I love Devin Booker. Um, I just think that I expected more. I expected more.
No, and that's fine. And that's fine. We'll see how they play out too. Phoenix says they've been doing soul searching all year. They got a point guard, which is significant. They still don't have front court depth, but we shall
Mm,
see. KD's been doing KD things still.
you can't blame. I mean, I don't think it was Vogel's fault when he got fired. I thought he did a solid. Vogel's not the best.
Yeah,
He's a good coach. He's a good coach. He's not the best, right? I remember on the Lakers, his rotational, his some of his rotations just didn't make sense.
yeah.
Every coach
He's
has
not
their.
he's not a very demonstrative coach. He's not. Look, everybody, listen to me, follow me. Here's what I'm about to say.
That's tough
He's right.
because KD's not like. Look, who's on your team? Who's your leader? That's the problem. Like
Hmm.
Kevin Durant, Draymond Green said it recently. I just heard it. He doesn't really lead with words. He just leads by example. Like he gets to work early. He gets his shots up. He does the right things, but he's not really a big vocal leader. I don't think Devin Booker is really a vocal leader either. He kind of has that KD mentality of I get my work in, I get my shots up. Like I'm not a bad teammate. I'm a solid teammate, but I'm not. It's not like he's LeBron in the huddle. He's not Draymond Green in the huddle. He's not Jimmy Butler in the huddle. Like he's not taking on that role of like a Russell Westbrook, and they need that. And I think that's why that Jimmy Butler scenario makes it makes sense more from a leadership standpoint. We need someone that's going to do the dirty work, that's going to call people out, that's going to just get everybody on the same page and be willing to like be comfortable with confrontation and being uncomfortable, which is what they need. You can't fix Book's mold. When he went to the finals, he had Chris Paul. Chris Paul filled that mold of like being the leader, everybody in the right spots, calling people out. So, it's a different team. And yeah, they're not doing well, bro. I don't know if they won the past couple games or so, but they had a streak of like losing quite a bit in a row. And
yeah, they bounced back. They'll definitely be in the playoffs. I don't doubt that team making the postseason whatsoever.
The Pistons have a better record than them.
Anything could happen still. Anything 100% could happen.
Hey,
and
that's a
that
good point.
Western Conference is gridlocked.
That's a good point. So the first thing I said was the Pistons have a better record than them, and then I paused and I was like, yeah, the Pistons have a better record than them because the Pistons have been balling. So that's another team that I didn't mention.
Yes,
that
yes.
they need to respect.
This is why I love Who's Hooping, because just like that, we have low-key covered like the league.
Yeah,
But no,
much.
Cade deserves a all-star nod. He has been ridiculously balling. Yeah, Phoenix, by the way, is 17-19, so they do have some ground to cover in the Western Conference to stay afloat for the postseason. I think that they will, but man, that means they got to get in front of the Spurs, Warriors, Kings, Clippers, Wolves, or somebody in that bunch.
Spurs will be in the playoffs. I got the Spurs making the playoffs this year as a
It's
play-in
it's
team.
it's man. So I'm glad you're here, Jake, because we can do this, bro. Let me can't mention this who's hooping thing without Russell Westbrook a little more in depth because
I was thinking about it, man.
He has new life in the NBA thanks to Denver. And this was predictable, man. I was texting during our fantasy draft, like, watch my next pick. I'm smacking it. And it was going to be Westbrook. He got taken before it came back around to me.
It's like round 9, round 10.
I really, literally, yeah.
Yeah.
And I wanted him because I was like, yeah, it's his. It'll be he's a go play. Just go play basketball, man. Like it's not the pressure of Los Angeles or the pressure of, the superstar groupings and all these names. Jokic has never had an all-star teammate. He's now playing with the former MVP. And it looks like this team has 2 former MVPs on it the way they're playing right now. And
both had a triple-double tonight.
First pair of teammates to do so multiple times in a season ever.
Lonzo and LeBron did it. I don't know if multiple times, but they did do it against Charlotte on the road back in 2018 or so.
I'm so mad that he messed up I think it was his calf on Christmas against the Warriors.
LeBron?
Yeah, remember? No, not this year. That year with Lonzo, LeBron, BI, Kuz.
Yeah. You were fourth in the West. Team,
and we smacked the Warriors on Christmas, and it was the super duper Warriors.
Yeah. 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 No. And,
what could have been, dude? But also we got AD. Well, that's revisionist history.
I know.
But they're doing their thing. Jokic is also scoring the best that he has in his career ever. He's averaging 31 this season. He had the post-game comments to the press earlier in the year saying, yeah, we can't shoot. We can't really, that's not our forte. He said we have 2 shooters, Jamal and Mike.
Put pressure on, but he's also putting pressure on the front office because he valued KCP. He's gone.
He sure did. And at the same time, he led by example after that and said, all right, I got to be the scorer right now. I got to lean into scoring for the sake of the team. We know he can do it all and that he's honestly a pass first player. I have Jokic in fantasy this year as well. Second year having him. So I've been watching this dude basically nightly what his performances are like. And this year, it's noticeably different. Like, he is handing out major, major buckets and is one of the best 3-point shooters in the season.
Is he your MVP? Just a random thought. I'm just curious.
Shea.
How can Jokic have a better season and not be MVP.
than what he did last year. So last season,
This is a
it's
media
funny
hype.
that
This
it's
is
funny,
media
right?
hype.
No, this is great too. It's funny that I'm saying this because last season, like I said, had Jokic thumping for him, but I said it on this pod. I said, yo, to the voters, that vote is lazy for Jokic. And I said that because he was coming off an MVP season. So the precedent, and he already had two. So the precedent of getting a third A or going back to back B means that you had to go to another astronomical level.
Why?
Maybe not, but
I don't like this. See, that's what they did to LeBron, and you know what they did at the Kobe because the media hated
that's
Kobe. They didn't
facts.
want to give
That's
him MVP.
facts. And the
Give it to
MVPs
Jordan
tell an
though.
interesting story. I thought that last season, what Shea and Luca were doing with their team and sort of the unproven natures of their team, Shea, that was the youngest team in the NBA last season. And they had
Yeah,
one of the better records. They were formidable. And it was Jalen Williams, we didn't know how good he was still. And he's continued to grow as well. I've got him in fantasy as well. My fantasy team's loaded.
he liked my
Um,
he liked one of my posts today. Shout
I'll
out
check it
Jalen.
out. Um, I thought
Yeah,
that last year Jokic was phenomenal, but I thought that it was a mirror season to the one he had prior. And with that context, he has championship structure around him. That team has muscle memory of championship level play. So I take that into account. The coaching, the chemistry, it's designed for you to succeed. There wasn't much of a precedent for, Shea exploding the way he did or Luka exploding the way he did. I think that this season, it'd be I really think it'd be a robbery for Shea not to get it.
and
We'll
there's a
see how it
reason.
plays out a little bit longer.
So there's one reason why I like Shea for MVP. Although I feel like it doesn't. I feel like if somebody wins it, the next year it shouldn't matter if they won it or if they didn't win it. That shouldn't dissuade you from choosing someone because it should be it's a subjective award, but the criteria there should like the previous year is done. We have a champion, we have an MVP, we have a rookie of the year. That's all irrelevant. It's a new year. And if a player is playing like he's the best player in the league in a new year, he should just keep winning it. And it'll piss other players off and make them step up.
It happens in soccer. Lionel Messi has like six Ballon d'Ors.
Yeah, and he deserves them. Like I think Jokic would deserve MVP again.
No, he
Um,
100% does.
but what the Shea thing is, unlike all the other players that have been mentioned, and I watched the game today, Shea plays defense. And I like the emphasis on defense more in the NBA because it just makes it so much more fun. And Jalen Brunson was getting dogged today. Like he would try to drive in on Shea. I know Shea's like 6'5",
Yeah.
maybe 6'4", 6'5", maybe 6'6". And Jalen Brunson's like maybe 6'1", 6'2". And every
Hmm.
time he tried to drive to the lane, and he's tough, like he's strong,
Right.
he's getting swatted, he's getting like stripped. He can't move,
Yeah,
and it
no, he's
just
a
was like
dog, man. He takes it personally. Shea does, it looks like.
exactly. And I just personally I love
He doesn't take games off. I don't believe he's missed a game this season.
yeah.
I have to
And
fact check that.
OKC is one of the most exciting defensive teams in the league. So is
It-
Cleveland, and that's why that game was so intense because it wasn't just let me come down and let me try to score and score easily, right? We just got to get back and let me try to get back a three. It was I'm gonna try to lock you down. I'm gonna make you stop. I'm not gonna let you score. And that just gives me like nostalgic vibes of like the 2000s and Kobe playing full court defense against D-Wade, and that's what I want players to take pride in. And Shea does that, and his team is first in the West, second best record in the league, and yeah, I mean, I definitely would give Shea the MVP just because of that factor.
Yeah, there's some ridiculous team stats for Oklahoma City's defense. And I've written about, we'll sort of transition here. I've written about my first assignment this season for NBA.com period was about the Cavs. They were 8-0 at the time or going for 8-0. And I said, look, this is not, in my opinion, at the time, something that's not sustainable. I think that what they're doing will hold up because they have perfect basketball symmetry, basically. Like it is a functional team in every sense, facilitating point guard, do everything, scoring, best athlete on the court, shooting guard, plug in, whether it be Karis LeVert, whether it be Isaac Okoro, whether it be any 3 and D, sort of high level, just kind of guy plugging in right there at the three. With these hybrid power forward and center, Mobley's insane this year, man. He's hitting 1.5 threes a game now. He was like 3 for 4 the other night. It's
He's so
ridiculous.
versatile. He's so versatile.
With rim
He does
protection, he's
everything.
going off the dribble. He's finishing with the left, with the right, still playing defense. Jared Allen's having a career season. I said, this lineup is too basketball balanced for this to not continue. Like, teams are going to have to execute offensively and defensively, like you were saying, to beat them. And I also wrote about the Thunder because at the time it was Hardenstein stepping up for the void by Chet Holmgren. And that was when I saw these defensive numbers for OKC. And there's some dope stats, man, on NBA.com. Like Oklahoma City was first in deflections per game, 22. Next closest is 19. They have a gap over the rest of the league. They're second in loose balls recovered per game. And those hustle stats are like, that's all with playing with one conventional big man. That's it. Everybody else in the team is like 6'7" or below.
Yeah.
It's Lou Dort, it's Caruso, it's J Dub, it's Cason
Isaiah Joe,
Wallace.
Jalen
Isaiah
Williams.
Joe had 31 tonight, 8 threes,
Yeah, he was
but
tough.
they're all scrappy. Life is not fun against that team. There's nobody you want to switch on. It's almost like how Boston switch all day long. You'll never be happy with who you got to switch on to, unless it's maybe Peyton Pritchard. But he's scrappy.
Yeah.
Um, Literally with my player, I have a 6'9" sort of highlight reel, small forward, and I played for the Spurs with Wemby. And I had like some back-to-back games, key games I had to play against the Thunder. And literally, bro, it's not sweet. You got Chet inside, Hart inside, and every perimeter guy, you really can't just go around.
I love
So
how
you have to
2K.
work. You
Yeah.
have to work.
Yeah. No, they're young. They aren't like, they remind me of like a college. They have the atmosphere of a college team. And if I even go further, of course they're different, but the way that we played in high school, it's just that we're gonna just
No, it's facts.
and they have that mentality. Like they get in the post game and they're all standing around. They're like
Yeah,
kids. They're
you're
kids.
getting met at half court at the least.
Yeah. And they're just so young. Like the
They
NBA to
play
them
that
is
way. They don't look at the game as size wins.
yeah,
It's like heart wins.
yeah.
And we got heart defensively and offensively. Good luck staying in front of number two, or is he number one? Number two,
Number two. Number two.
right? Good luck staying in front of two. And if not, we're all confident as well. Like we can get down with you.
Yeah.
Um,
What I mean, just the last point on Shea. I want to say that I've seen some clips and highlights and some footage, and the whistle he's getting, bro. All I'm gonna say is other players are not getting that same whistle this year, and it's interesting. I don't know if the NBA is kind of you know advocating for some type of free throw, getting to the free throw line for Shea or hyping up his numbers. But I swore they implemented a rule of no pump fakes and jumping into a defender anymore. And sometimes you get fined for that. But a lot of times, like it's like every other play, he's going to the free throw line. It's just insane. And I love Shea, but I mean, LeBron doesn't get that whistle. LeBron gets barely any whistle, in my opinion, and I watch him.
I agree.
Harden doesn't get that whistle.
But Harden
Um,
did. Harden did for a minute. And
but that was
Shea's
the point,
doing
though.
Shea's doing sort I'll let you continue to.
No, but he
Um,
did. But that's why they implemented the rule to stop that. So it just
but
makes
it
no
was
sense.
because he basically found the loophole. It's kind of like that shape reason why I was saying earlier that the MVP history tells an interesting story in retrospect because yeah, LeBron probably should have 5 or 6, but Kevin Durant deserves the one he got. James Harden deserves the one he got. Westbrook deserves the one he got. Giannis deserves. It's like when you look back, it's
when Westbrook,
100% earned.
but when Westbrook won that, it was just
It
there
was
was
fabricated. It was
bro,
they
it
were
just
the
it was
seventh. They were like the 6th or 7th seed, I
the
recall.
league had an agenda. It was like the narrative of like Kevin Durant left the OKC. He forsook Russell Westbrook. He went to the Warriors. They painted him as a villain, and they were like everybody was just hyping up Russ, and Russ was getting triple doubles, and his teammates were hyping him up
Yeah,
too.
I think he set the NBA record for usage that season too.
Yeah, and that's insane,
But it hadn't been done like that either. The
bro.
30-point triple double, we just have to respect the game.
Is that the
Like,
year they did they have Paul George that season or no?
no, that wasn't his MVP season. No.
They made the playoffs, but I don't even know
Hmm.
what seed they were.
Yeah, no, they were a lower seed. They were one of the lower, like it might have been an MVP with the worst record as
Okay, yeah.
well.
Then I don't even,
But that was because, bro, he was playing next to Andre Robertson that season. It
bro.
was
Bro,
like,
don't disrespect timeout. Rachel Demita, shout out Rachel. You know she's bad, but don't disrespect RJ Robertson, bro. He was
just saying,
before
he
his
was a
in,
key player in that
but
rotation.
before before his injury, because he got injured, and injuries suck. He was one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. I mean, he wasn't a good free throw shooter. He was like an okay 3-point shooter, but he wasn't a good he was one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. So I'll just leave it at that. Um yeah, I mean they had who else did they have? They had Ibaka, they had Steven Adams, they had they had some pieces. So
All right, Westbrook had the third worst record for an MVP, but the two before him are Bob Pettit in 1955 and Kareem in 75.
yeah,
So they were 46 and 35 that season he won it. And he was 31, 10, and 10 with not great percentages, but
it was a narrative. I don't know. It was a narrative. And I mean
let's
this
just,
is this is
and
we're
while
taking
I'm
away from the
here,
point, but I mean I just want to you can somehow justify every player
bro,
that wins MVP getting MVP. They're not
yeah,
they're having good seasons, like, and it's a subjective
right.
award, and
And
there's
only
a
one. It's hard to win. There's elite players.
and like these people that vote for these awards, they're also fans. Like they also watch the game. They also might not like Kevin Durant going to another team. They might not like LeBron. They definitely didn't like Kobe because Kobe was look up Steve Nash's MVP numbers right now, and
Right. No, yeah.
he's like
I
13
recall.
and 10.
Nah, bro, you doing Steve, dog. He was a cool 17 and 11.
17.
18 and 11, 50, 40, 90, 1 seed, 2 seed.
Stop. Kobe's averaging over 35 a game, like 6 rebounds,
So,
6
so but
assists with
see,
Smush Parker,
now
Chris
that's
Mim,
fair as well, but
Kwame Brown.
they were also like a 5, 6, or 7 seed, which is the Russell Westbrook, season.
No,
Where, all right, look, Kobe didn't get that one, but Russell got that one. Does that make you feel better?
definitely
No.
not. No, because
I know.
after the allegations against Kobe in Utah,
Right. Oh yeah.
he
He
lost
was
everything,
yeah. And
and that's it.
I didn't have to mention it. That's what folks should know. That team had Steven Adams, it actually had Jeremy Grant,
Oh,
Ilyasova, McDermott, Oladipo, Sabonis
wait,
before they
that was a
flipped.
good team. I remember that team.
And some of those people were traded. Sabonis and Oladipo weren't on the team together. But yeah. Um,
No, they were.
Anywho,
They were traded for Ibaka. Sabonis was drafted by the Magic.
you were correct. You were correct. Yeah, they both were returned for interesting stuff. Interesting stuff there.
I mean,
Interesting
Sabonis was
stuff.
like a rookie at that time, and he
Yeah, they were
wasn't what he
young,
was now. But
100%.
Oladipo was like
Kyle Singler campaign.
campaign was yeah. I mean, I remember when he got drafted from Mizu.
We got a while to do the MVP debate thing,
Okay,
but it's a good race this year. It's definitely a good race, I'll say, because
Anthony Davis needs
let
some
me.
recognition.
I mean, and let me mention this too. I mean, it's tough to sort of pinpoint one person on that Cavs team because I think that Garland and Mitchell are almost equally responsible for some of the. You can't really elevate one beyond any of them. But who went down there? It's
I'll
from
give it more
Brooklyn.
to
Who is the coach from Brooklyn that's over there now? Yeah, I'm just losing it. His name's not coming to me because it's late. Kenny Atkinson, hands down, coach of the year. So they'll get some hardware, and they got a point to prove because they went outside in the playoffs last year. So they got to get back there and get some revenge.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy that he turned down the Charlotte Hornets job after he accepted it last year too. But that's a side note. But yeah, I agree. Yeah, bro, good point.
There was one specific thing I wanted to say after that, but I've got one story that I wrote that I haven't got a chance to talk about on here yet, which I thought was just a little added perspective on what he's accomplished thus far. And what I wanted to call it, it ended up being that, but I wanted to call it the NBA's modern assist king. But all
I know what you're gonna
time,
say. This is a Trae Young?
yeah, of course, yeah, clearly,
Okay,
it's the guy who's getting 20 something assists a game.
Disrespected too. He was disrespected before the season.
All time career averages 4 assists. Number one is Magic Johnson. It might have been pushing 11. If not, it was 10 point something up there. Number two was Stockton. You know, he played much longer than Magic, so he accumulated more career total assists. But he's second still all time in career average. Number three, all time career average for assists with, I believe, 9.7 or 9.6 is Trae Young, and he's in year 7.
What do you attribute that to this year specifically?
I think that it's a team. Their record reflects it. They're above. They're on pace to surpass their preseason total for over/under wins. They're on pace to surpass it. I think that this team was constructed with the modern style, in mind, and knowing that Trae has deficiencies, so you have to compensate for that. Meaning everybody around him is 6'7" and up, just about, and is a threat to shoot or catch and dunk. And Trae's proven himself on a high level, whether that be at the Garden a couple years back, that conference finals run, or just with the longevity. He's been one of the top 5 scorers in the league, and he's led the assists in the league for multiple seasons. So he's confident. I think this is one of those. He's hitting his prime. You know, they say athletes, that 28, 29, 27. That's when you're like an upperclassman in the league, and you really start. Nah, all right, chill out, Brooke. Like you mentally feel empowered, and I think that he feels that way. Yeah.
You still have your peak athleticism in some sense, and you're comfortable enough with the pace of the game, and everything just kind of slows down. So you're in a good place. And I definitely agree.
And if I had to say one other reason, I think he went overseas for the hair, and I think he's looking in the mirror like, oh, I'm that guy now.
I like that. I mean, I think there's a reason that you didn't mention that stands out to me. And by the way, we have to keep in mind that Trae was like rumored to be in the trade market like in the offseason.
Right.
And I was praying the Lakers would, give up the farm for him too. But I think the biggest thing is clearly the Trae and DeJounte experiment didn't work. And his usage rate wasn't the same last year, and he just wasn't the same player. And getting rid of that and allowing him to be in full control of the rock, like literally
he's a quarterback.
Yeah, it'll just let him flourish. Like he's able to be Trae again. And I think he's just having fun. He's distributing the ball, he's shooting well. I mean, your confidence is at an all-time high when you hit a half-court game winner. Like it's got to feel good. So he's amazing to watch and to see. And yeah, bro, like it is insane because he's not getting advertised on ESPN that well, sports platforms that well. Like you really
and people talk about him. It's changing in real time because you have to acknowledge a resume that starts to look the way his does.
Yeah.
But up until now, it's like, oh yeah, Trae, he likes to jack shots, and he gets his assists, but not necessarily a winning player. And that's just because, okay, the circumstances haven't, fallen right. He hasn't had the
Man.
stars per se next to him either, which
Yeah.
we've seen it take to win. I had a football reference in mind, along with how you said, coming off an off season with rumors and stuff. I can't believe that summer. I think it was before this year, maybe before last season. It was going into the previous NFL season when Lamar Jackson's contract was up and
Mhm.
Baltimore played this long game about paying him. But during that time, there was not one other team that came in and aggressively said, y'all are effing stupid. That's Lamar Jackson. If y'all don't want him, Lamar, you are welcome over here and we will figure it out. Since that summer, he's working on his second consecutive MVP, which he'll probably get. He was first team All Pro and has made the NFL look silly during the regular season. So just that was an aside of like, yo, you can't. I'm not saying that Trae is as great as Lamar is in comparison, but one of those things where it's like sometimes assets are a narrative behind a player can take away from just how objectively great they are.
Exactly. And like we mentioned this earlier, it's all about image, right? So he has an image of he doesn't play
Whatever it may
defense,
be.
whatever it may be. And it's really hard in the NBA. It's like one of those sports. It's really hard to shake off like the image you have, right? And I also think there's strategy to it where if you're an opposing team and you like a player, you have to like kind of downplay it a little bit just so you can give up as least as you can to
Yeah,
acquire them. And I mean that's been the story of so many things. But yeah, he's destroyed the narrative. But until he wins, I mean, I guess the Knicks know. The Knicks know who Trae Young is. Like the
for
Lakers know who
sure.
Jamal Murray is to some extent. But like the
Man,
whole
I
NBA is
haven't
on watch now, and they've been doing well. And Dyson Daniels is a good piece next to Trae when he's healthy. I think they're in the playoff
got
race right
Dyson.
now.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So,
Comfortably.
so
Um, I
yeah,
also have Dyson in fantasy. You know
the
what I'm
most
saying?
deflections almost in NBA history at this pace.
Dude,
So
it's and I added him quickly. 3 games into the season, he was one of my first ads. Got
yeah,
Zubac as well. Zubac's been tearing it up.
really, he doesn't
Former
box
Laker.
out. He doesn't box out though.
The shots are just falling in his lap then.
Yeah, no, for sure. But
I
yeah,
didn't
bro.
I haven't talked this will probably be it. And I'll mention the other thing I put on the back burner. I haven't talked Lakers in depth all season
Mm,
because it takes a while for to we didn't think that this team was a finished product entering the season, roster wise, and I still don't think it is. And you can't really predict what that front office is going to do either. Um, so I don't try to pretend to be like this is what they're going to do or even almost this is what they should do. It's more of like, do they need to do something or do we have something and let's just play? What do you think?
no, they got to do something for sure. It's been proven. Who did they lose to the other night previously?
Dallas without Luca and Kyrie?
Yeah, so Dallas without Luke and Kyrie, and I think they lost the game prior to that as well. I just can't remember who they played,
Yeah.
but they get dominated on the boards.
Yeah, we 100%. I wanted to root for Jackson Hayes. He's not the answer.
Definitely not.
You know who? All right. So randomly, you know who I think the Lakers. I don't really know how it works. You know who I think would fit really good next to the Lakers, and I think that like this team doesn't really want him anymore.
Who?
DeAndre Ayton.
Ah,
Trust me, he's got warts. I feel you on that. I just was looking at them and I'm like, they're tanking. They want to get Kling in minutes. I don't think that they really want him. Dang, it would be kind of nice to hide his weaknesses next to AD and let him get fed and let Braun not have to bang as
But
much.
his weaknesses are effort, and you can't. And he was in
However,
Phoenix,
and he wasn't in Phoenix in the finals being a bum.
but he didn't show up in multiple games in the finals too. He was getting flamed.
First time, which you
Yeah,
don't get a pass,
but
but
you demanded to be traded. He went to Portland, and this should be
hopefully
his
he's been
win.
humbled.
But every player, but no, he hasn't because when James Harden wanted that contract extension with OKC, coming off the bench, he got traded, and you know what? He was so motivated to let the people know, like, this is who I am. Like, I'm a hooper. I deserve my money. I'm one of the best in the league. And that we've seen that trend with players when they get traded or they're upset and they go somewhere else. In his case, he's just too satisfied. I want him nowhere near the Lakers because he just seems like a locker room problem, right? And I don't. I mean, Robert Williams, if he's healthy, I'd rather have Robert Williams because he can play a specific
I
role.
would as well. I'm all in on that as well. I take that back. I didn't say DeAndre Ayton. I said Rob Williams.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna block shots, which is what we need. He's gonna rebound, which is what we need, and he's gonna hustle. Like Koloko, for some reason, has been taken out of the rotation, and I love like Koloko does
They should
well.
be playing him some more for
He should
real.
be playing
Yeah,
some
yeah, yeah.
more. Dorian Finney-Smith should be starting. Rui should come off the bench, uh, because our bench is second to last in the league in scoring. And Dorian Finney-Smith, when he's with that LeBron, Austin Reeves, AD lineup, they have like the highest plus minus out of any other uh rotation, or group on the Lakers. So I think it's easy fixes. I think as a coach, you don't want to be too political and automatically remove a player from the starting lineup once you trade for somebody else. Maybe he has some faith in the group
Do
and he wants to see, but
Do you think that Jimmy to the Lakers is at all like what percent? Like, do you think that that's realistic,
no,
possible, desired? Even you're
no.
good.
Well, I like Jimmy. The thing is,
Yeah,
though,
yeah, yeah.
I played with a trade machine, and like it's just way too
It
difficult.
really can't. It really
You
can't.
can't, and like with the being over the first apron, I think the Lakers are below the second apron. I might be wrong, but they're just really limited with how they can make that happen. Like you got to give up a lot of players. Like you got to give up Rui, you got to give up Jared Vanderbilt, you got to give up Gabe
With
Vincent.
D'Lo gone, that was really a piece that
Yeah,
contractually made a lot of things work.
yeah,
And yeah, so my other question was, I don't really know who that person is then now, just off top. But do you trade AR for anybody and go for the gusto move?
definitely not. Why would you do that? One, his contract is amazing. He gives you
Yeah,
so
it
much
is.
flexibility.
Yeah, it is.
He's still fairly young, and he's been our most consistent player this
Yeah,
year.
I stand by that. And the question was more so just like, all right, your answer made me sure that I'm like, let's not do that. But if I were to entertain it, like, okay, well, I mean, he's getting value right now. He might be, he might have an LA rub that he wouldn't do elsewhere, but no. And knowing the Lakers track record, he's going to go somewhere else and average 25.
I mean, I mean, the thing is, who are you trading for, and what does their salary look like? That's the problem, because that really is the problem. There's no such thing as a bad player in the NBA. It's just a good contract or a bad contract. Like every player that's criticized right now, if they were on a more better bargain of a contract, they would be, held with so much higher regard.
Yeah.
Zach LaVine,
I don't, and with that being the case, I don't know. Like, I feel like the Lakers do have something.
they
I
do.
wish they would even give Dwight maybe a phone call just because, like, I know that's because something has to happen in terms of addressing the front court. And if y'all are going to be too shy to really do something, like they keep talking about Valanciunas and maybe a Nick Claxton. I
It's
don't
just
know. I doubt all of these things actually happen. And I don't know who they end up with if that's the case.
I wish I wish they would have traded for Steven Adams when they had the chance because they just need someone just like that. Someone that does the
Yeah.
dirty work, that sets good screens, that can rebound the ball, that can block shots, and is like just gonna be so fluid in the locker room. Because
Now,
that's literally there's not a lot of options.
right.
Valanciunas is a defensive liability. He's solid. I like Valanciunas.
Yeah.
He
That
can
boy
stretch
DB.
he can stretch it for a little bit. That's fine.
Yeah, it's low behind the head shot.
Vucevic can stretch the floor. Vucevic is
Vooch has
having
been balling this year.
a pretty
Balling.
good year. He's having a pretty good year. But I don't think he's defensively. He's definitely not really there.
I mean, I don't really worry about all these guys defensively though, because you insert them into a lineup that they don't have to be the rim protector.
Yeah, they don't. They just have to
You
rebound.
can or just yeah, exactly. You can park them, and you at least have help, and you have a combined, front court. You get a little Cleveland action where Allen is a better defensive player than all these guys we're talking about as well, but strength in numbers and in size, and that's what worked in the bubble. You know,
It did work. It did work. And Cleveland has proven that the two big.
you think we can get Kuz back?
We don't need Kuz. You want Kuz? We got Dorian. We have Dorian Finney-Smith.
Not
We have
really. Yeah.
we have Jared Vanderbilt coming back, and we have Rui. So we have a great. The thing is now we have more
So when we start
flexibility.
doing this, bro, you talk me into I think we got something. Just wait until we're healthy and all of that. But
No, no. So we definitely got to make a move. We need like a we need
hold
a
on.
yeah.
Dramatic pause.
Will be you cooking something up? What are you thinking about?
I wanted to say, and who's hooping, that Bronny's been hooping. Now hold on. Hold on. Hold on. I'm not saying Bronny is the savior. I'm not saying anything. Let me flesh this out just a little bit longer.
Okay.
Early December, mid-December, as soon as he put a couple good games together in the G League. Right now, what do we stand to lose by putting him out there?
But you're a clickbait master. I can't do this right now.
I
This-
wish I wasn't trying to act. I wish I wasn't legitimately thinking this, because I'm just saying bro, what is Gabe Vincent going to do in the Lakers jersey?
Okay, so a couple
He's,
things based off of that. One
Max
is
Christie has thankfully sort of looked like he's rounding a corner in terms of being just a little bit more productive, a little more confident, but I don't know how much more leash we can give Max Christie.
I love Max Christie. I've been a fan of Max Christie since he came into the league. And I was so happy that he finally got to get some rotational minutes because Darvin
And
Ham was
who
not
else in our
letting.
backcourt is an athlete?
Well, we don't have too many athletes in our backcourt, but we do have someone in the G League that's a
Olivari.
guard, Olivari. He hasn't got a chance.
I know. I wish he would as well.
I don't understand why. Like you can't bring up Bronny and not bring up Olivari. Like
And
Olivari has proved that
that he
he's the
can
best.
shoot, that he can, yeah,
Yeah,
he's got some heart. I stand by both of those. That we don't have anything to lose with those minutes. But
between the
we'll
Lakers,
just wait and see. I don't want to be the person, like you said, I don't want to be clickbait man about Bronny,
yeah, yeah,
but I think that a good playable NBA level player is in there 100%.
yeah.
And you got to imagine how weird he must feel. And if you don't necessarily get a chance to shake the nerves off, you'll never be the player that you can be. And that won't happen
Facts,
if they don't let him just run. Just go run, just play, bro.
facts. But
Play
this is
when
not the
Bron
time
doesn't
to.
play.
But this,
I
if
get it. We can't just goof off.
no, definitely not. If we were like a bottom team in the West, right, and we definitely had no expectations, then what you're saying is exactly what Dwayne Wade said. Dwayne Wade said the Lakers are, call up Bronny. That's what we want to see. We know the Lakers aren't going to win a championship, so call up Bronny.
Think about some of these guys that are at least getting minutes, and I had no idea who they were. I had no idea who Jalen Wilson was for the Nets. No idea who AJ Mitchell was for the Thunder. No idea who Pele Larson is on the Heat.
Alex Caruso was the same way. He was in the G League,
Undrafted.
two-way contract, and then he
AR
finally
was
got his bill.
undrafted.
Yeah. So that's true, but I think Bronny has more eyes on him, so we kind of know more of what to expect with Bronny versus other players. Two is, I mean, the G League is completely different from the NBA. Like, if you think the NBA defense is bad, then go watch a G League game.
Yeah,
Defense is,
Reed Shepard had 48 the other night.
yeah, G League is terrible, and
But it's competitive
I
basketball.
can't take you serious. There's no way you're serious right now. I would rather have Gabe Vincent on the floor than Bronny for sure. Like, that's not even a question. And that's not to say Gabe Vincent is amazing. It's just to say that the NBA is way bigger, it's way stronger, it's way faster, and Bronny
And
will
and
get there.
and Bronny's faster than Gabe. I think he's got a frame to be bigger and stronger than. I wish I did legitimately think these things, but it's just because you stand to gain nothing by not even. Because yeah, people are going to overreact. Oh, he missed 2 layups. Oh, look, he slid it. Somebody made him stumble. So the F what?
You know,
You give him another possession.
you had the opportunity to frame this so much differently that would have made me so much more open-minded, and you butchered it. You completely butchered it.
Maybe I did because
You know
remember I
why?
wasn't going to do this.
You know why? Because all you had to say was, I've watched some games and I've seen when Bronny's on the sidelines and he's sitting on the Laker bench and the way that LeBron just plays differently. It's like he's extra motivated with having Bronny up there. I don't,
So
that's a good point.
So,
That's a
bro,
great point.
I made that case over the summer. I got a real saying that whole thing that Bronny being there brings accountability to LeBron. That you don't get to be, I'm gonna walk back, man. Now, not so much
Yeah,
because dad instincts are gonna kick in. Of oh shit, he's watching. Let me, you know what I'm saying? 1,000%. That was the case I made before he ever touched the court. Was
yeah, and it
that
worked.
him being on the roster makes Bron a little more motivated. Um, is Gabe Vincent, would he ever catch an alley oop?
Yes. No, he won't.
No.
No,
Is he getting a chase down block on anybody?
no.
Only not to shoot on Gabe. I'm only saying that there are tools and raw traits there that translate to the league.
I mean,
Cason Wallace isn't Darren Williams. But you know what I'm saying? Anywho, I'm done.
I mean, there's a couple things. A couple seasons ago, Gabe Vincent was the starting point guard in the NBA Finals. So
Yeah, on the
keep that in
Miami
mind.
team that snuck everything. I know he hit the corner shot, one of those. He did, but hey, how many of
There's
those has he hit in purple and gold?
No, not a lot. He's barely played any games. Dalton Connect has more points, career points as a Laker than Gabe Vincent has,
Gabe Vincent, shout out to UC Santa Barbara. Salute.
for sure. But
I don't want you filing unemployment. I'm just saying.
number two is, bro, playing in the NBA is something. Playing on the Lakers is like a whole new level of craziness. Like, perfect example, Kendrick Nunn. Have you been watching Kendrick Nunn? This guy is like one of the best players overseas right now in Europe, and he's
Yeah.
he's he's a hooper. Like, you watch him.
Who else has been somebody else has turned it up? What you call it? We had him
Lonnie
as well.
Walker,
Lonnie Walker.
Lonnie Walker, which he deserves to be in the league. Which, one of my points that I wanted to bring up is, whatever trade the Lakers make, try to free up just one more roster spot. Try to put in like if you can get Cam Reddish in that trade somehow, or someone at the end of your bench in that trade somehow, just free up one roster spot and then just go find one of these players that deserve to be in the league and get them back. But the NBA, especially and if you're on the Lakers, a lot of it is just confidence. Like, you're a good basketball player. You're in the NBA. We've seen Gabe
Right.
Vincent hoop. We've seen Lonnie Walker hoop. We've seen, fill in the blank hoop. But
Lonnie
if
was hooping in LA for a
you've
stretch.
seen, we've seen Russell Westbrook hoop, right? But his shot,
Hmm.
I mean, when you're not confident, like, it's too much. And you got the spotlight and it's too much. Um, Bronny, let's start off by playing every road game in the G League first and really getting that exposure.
I mean, something weird's going on there, but you won't get confidence sitting on the bench. You won't get any confidence until you see something go through the net, until you feel yourself get a board, until you get a stop. It won't happen in its sleep.
You just got to play. You got to hoop. You just got to hoop. So you just got to play as much as possible. And I mean, you know, I I'm
In the league, though, I like you said as well, though. There's still a translation. So like, yeah, let him get his run, and at least it's showing that okay, he's capable of doing something on the court amongst people on his
but
level. But right, I'm not trying to be that much of a diehard on this hill. It's
no,
just
you
the
are.
thought where I'm like, that you're going to get absolutely nothing if you give him absolutely no opportunity.
No,
If you
and he
treat it like
needs
a joke, it's going to be a joke.
and he needs the opportunity. But I think, you know, the bigger picture is, the Lakers want to win, and Bronny in no way is going to contribute to that, except for maybe motivating his dad, which is fine. But I mean, we have to be realistic. Like he's not going to contribute to winning, so this is not the time to really uh, be in a position where he's going to be playing meaningful minutes. Maybe he's on the bench and the Lakers are down by 10, or they're down by like 15 with like a couple minutes left, and they pull out their starters and let Bronny get some runs, or maybe some rare moments, but he's not going to contribute to winning at all. So it absolutely makes no sense for them to be full head on the Bronny development when it just makes no sense. And he's undersized. Like his gifts, which he's LeBron's offspring, right? So there's something there. But at the same time, like I'm sorry, bro. Like it just doesn't make any sense. But I like him. He was actually a way better player before his incident that he unfortunately had in his cardiac arrest. Basically missed his year at USC, basically. And he didn't even get that exposure. So he just needs to he's getting healthy again. He looks more confident. He needs to play. He needs to prove it in summer league, and he needs to prove it in training camp. And once you can like kind of get that respect and LeBron's there playing with you, you will earn your role without anybody giving it to you. Like all those players that you mentioned did on the Thunder, Alex Caruso, fill in the blank, right? That's what they did. They earned their spots and their stripes, and the confidence will come. But yeah, Lakers. Maybe in 2029 when the Jazz get the first overall pick, the Lakers own, we can get Bronny some run.
I feel it.
When
All
they
right.
don't own it yet, but they will. That's after we get Walker Kessler and Colin Sexton, but that's later.
LeBron GOAT argument. I'm not.
It's all
For
good. You love
one,
LeBron. You love
no,
Bronny.
no, no,
I
no,
like him
no, no,
too.
no.
It's
No,
cool.
so no, my Bronny take just comes from attempting to think outside the box, and as a if I'm tasked with assessing what we have, I'm sure that they are watching this, in practice, whatever, whatever. And all I was saying was that there's a stretch of the season where you can sort of do, do some things without the microscope. I thought like 2, 3 weeks ago before, I think before LeBron went on that sabbatical, or something else, when things were looking a little shaky.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I mean, I'm just looking at our guard depth. I was just looking at the guard depth, and I'm like, bro, these aren't being an athlete is at least a start. So I just would like to see something like that. But I know that the story, like you
Markel
said,
Fultz. I mean, Markel Fultz is still a free agent, and I
I
I, I
said
love
that on the
Markel
pod
Fultz.
a couple episodes ago as well. I was like, it's ridiculous. He's a
Makes no
free agent.
sense.
I would like us to go get
He's
him a
athletic.
10-day, one
Yeah,
hundred percent,
he's
100%.
athletic.
And he looked good in Orlando last year.
He looked so good in Orlando last year, right?
Can't believe he's not picked up yet.
There's players. I mean, depending on once Wagner comes back and Orlando's fully sacked, Cole Anthony was someone that was out of their rotation, right? And I'm sure that
Hmm.
that won't last for long. Like the Ken Whitmores of the world, that they want an opportunity somewhere else to just kind of flourish and play. Like these players will come to the surface and come up, and then that's when you can snag one of those players, or you free up space, a little bit of cap space somehow, or convince Marco Fultz to sign on the minimum contract for like the rest of the season. Um,
I thought that should have been done in August. But
he's our
yeah,
starting point guard. I mean, it makes sense, but it's tough because he was definitely going to be in Magic, but they did not meet his contract demands,
yeah, they didn't have any interest in paying him.
and because of that, like he's not a Magic, so he's not going to just sign with any other team for the vet minimum because he wants to ultimately get paid, and he's willing to sit out and wait, which makes no sense. His pride's in the way his agent is probably not doing a good job. But if he's convinced about winning a championship and getting a larger contract and joining LeBron and AD on the Lakers, and they say, "Hey, this is your starting job. Like you come in here, it's yours." Like that's pretty appealing, and I really wish that that's something that would happen. But
Like
again, we
great minds
have,
think alike, bro. Because I 100% have said that on here too.
but
I could see
unfortunately,
I could see Fultz.
unfortunately, the problem is that the Lakers have no open roster spots. So even if they want to sign someone, they can't unless they free up space via a trade. And that's why a trade is imminent because they have
They're
to
not
move.
done. They're not done.
Yeah. Jonathan Isaac would have been the perfect piece. I was hoping a couple years ago they would have pulled the trigger on him. A lot of question marks, but can you imagine Jonathan Isaac and AD in the front court?
I mean,
No, you
it'd
can't.
be it's no, I mean I can, and it'd be intimidating. It'd be active. I would say there's not much. I would say I'm fine with Vando when he plays, just because that heart, the way he hits the offensive glass, creates opportunities and gets loose balls as well. But unfortunately, he's been as unhealthy as Isaac's been, just about.
But not only unhealthy too, but when we played the Warriors in the playoffs, um, his weaknesses were exposed. I mean, he was doing good in the beginning. He was,
Right.
doing great, and they
I
they
mean,
made some
I don't think.
adjustments.
Yeah, Isaac could. Yeah, hey, do
I mean,
something.
it's not going to happen anymore
I'm not. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because there's a certain window. Like you should never trade for a player when he's at his peak, or sign a player when he's at his peak. For example, Derrick Jones Jr. Like he has a great season in Dallas, even though we have all this footage and we've seen him play for so long. The Clippers
He's
come in and give
playing
him,
extra motivated. Yeah.
yeah, but you don't want to sign those players. You want to sign players that are disgruntled. You want to sign players that something's going on, like a Zach LaVine. Like this is a perfect time if you really value Zach LaVine, you trade for him now because you're going to get a good, you're going to pay pennies on the dollar for someone like him. You don't wait and try to trade for like a Shea Gilgeous-Alexander when he's playing like Shea Gilgeous-Alexander because they're not going to trade him. But if you did ever have the opportunity, you're going to give up everything you have and more just
Mhm.
to try to snag one of those players. So that's why the Cole Anthony's, the Cam Whitmore's, the Markel Fultz, the Porzingises of the world, when he was in Washington and
Right.
the Celtics came in for Marcus Smart and they got a first round pick in Porzingis. Like that's how you build a well-rounded roster. But I've been
Yeah.
rambling a lot. That's just my 2 cents. And yeah, they'll make some moves. So I definitely agree. We'll see what happens.
That's the state of a Laker fan right now. I feel like what we just expressed. It's like you want to be a little optimistic, want to be a little excited, know that they need to do something, and that if something doesn't happen, it's like, okay, well, let's just watch this. Let's see how this goes. And I guess,
Yeah.
um, I'll say this on here now. We'll close with this. GOAT argument.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, LeBron's my GOAT, but I won't feel compelled to change somebody's mind if they say it's Magic, if they say it's MJ, if they say it's Kobe. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think that, oh, you don't know basketball if you disagree.
Mm-hmm.
I also know that people are is grounded in some of their takes depending on the era that they hold tightest or whatever it may be. So that's one fact of the matter. Now, this is one, if when the conversation is happening, especially to folks who are a 90s NBA kind of person and they're just like, nah, not right now. Nah, this and that, this and that, this and that. I found this argument to be one that I just would like to hear the counter to.
Okay.
Um, so MJ's the GOAT, right? Cool. Well, and it sort of is similar to what I said for the MVP considerations. That all right, well, let's just look at some of the surrounding factors, right? Michael never won without Phil, never won without Scotty. Says something to the structure and the stability that also contributed to greatness. His greatness stood by itself, but there were factors around you that also made you great and enabled your greatness. Duncan had David Robinson, or he had Greg Popovich alongside Tony, Manu in San Antonio for everything. Kobe had Phil for all five.
Okay.
If not Phil, he had Shaq. If not Shaq, he had Powell, which I'm not trying to say Powell is Scotty, but I know that we are both willing to go to bat for anybody trying to throw smut on Powell's name. It's like, no, we're not going to diss Powell. We're not going to say, you know what I'm saying? Steph has never got it done without Clay or without Kerr.
He could have, though. I don't think Steve Kerr is ultimately the sole reason why the Warriors won a championship. And I don't think that last championship that they did win, Clay was really a significant factor as well.
Or Draymond.
Again, yeah, I understand. I understand where you're going. I'm gonna let you finish your points first, though, before I give my thoughts.
And again, because I know that people's opinions won't change off of what you're just trying to tell them about who their GOAT is. So have your GOAT. 100, you know what I'm saying? You can't say that any other factor was a constant in all of LeBron's championships.
Well, he did have Eric Spoelstra, one of the best in the league, and he won 2 out of 4. So I mean, he had 4 trips to the finals with one of the most stacked rosters in NBA history. And only won 2. He choked in the Dallas series, which was, something very
that doesn't take away from the successful seasons and the fact that name me another star that's won with 3 head coaches.
Yeah, but see, you can't say that though, because if I'm changing a team, I'm gonna naturally have a different head coach, and the amount of control.
Who has got it done in a different jersey?
We would objectively claim Ty Lue's a great coach.
Who has 3 finals and 3 finals MVPs in a different jersey?
Is Ty Lue a great coach in your eyes?
Yeah, I give him. And I'm not saying that the people he
But
did
we
it
got to
with
get on that
bums.
topic.
I'm not saying that anybody.
You set a standard of Phil Jackson, and you set a standard of Greg Popovich. So we have to agree. Ty Lue's a great coach. Is Eric Spoelstra a great coach?
Fantastic, phenomenal.
Okay, exactly. And in addition to the coach, though, what you have to understand is, well, you know what? Let me let you finish your point because I did interrupt, and then I'll give my thoughts. So my apologies.
No, in a nutshell, it's just saying because right, and I'm glad that you at least added some pushback to some of it because I'm not saying that he did it all by himself. I'm just saying who is the other person in the GOAT argument that has started from scratch, multiple different places, ran the gauntlet, figured it out with a brand new batch of everything across eras just about. I'm not going to stretch that too far. Not taking away from the losses, not saying forget about this or forget about that, just speaking to the success. There's not other people in the GOAT argument that packed it up, did it again somewhere else with a brand new organization, coach, second in command, and then did it again somewhere else, new coach, second in command, different opponents. That's all. And I'll leave it. So, because I'm just like, does that, I mean, if that doesn't move you, it doesn't move you. I feel it.
No, but the thing is, so it doesn't really move me, although it is impressive, but it depends. So that would lead me to follow up with, well, what's harder? Is it harder to stay in one relationship all your life and you have ups and downs? Steph is a great example of that right now as we're speaking about it. And to still find a way to win? Or is it easier to find another team with players on flexible contracts, with a lot of young talent, maybe another superstar, and then I just kind of go and join and like add my talents to that roster? Which in all of LeBron's case, like this is undeniable. Like all the championships he's won, all of his teams. So by the way, that example of Kobe with Powell, like I don't care what anybody says. The Lakers were a good team, of course. They had Powell, they had Bynum, they had Lamar Odom, they had Kobe. But from 1 to 15 on that roster, that was not compared. That should not be compared to any other roster LeBron has had when he won a championship. It's not even close. It's not even close.
Yeah.
It's not even close. If you name all of LeBron's championship rosters that he's had, it's not even close. And I don't want to get too deep on that topic because I don't think that's something that is subjective. It's harder, right? If Kobe would have, and it was a different dynamic too. Like LeBron was more in control of who he wanted to play with and who he chose to play with, and he was more in control of his coach. Like a lot of times, he had control over who he wanted to play for, except in Miami. He wanted to get Eric Spoelstra fired. Pat Riley said no. He won 2 championships. And any other franchise that's not as solidified as Miami in their front office, when LeBron wanted to make a change, they always try to appease him and to let it be granted. So, I mean, a lot of that kind of goes back, unfortunately, on him. On him. It is impressive. Of course, nobody's ever done that before, but Kobe's only played for one franchise his 20 years. So that's more. I mean, nowadays you rarely see that. Michael won 6 in Chicago, and he had that continuity, of course, with Scottie. Like the first time they won together, I'm sure they were better the 6th time they won together because they just knew each other in and out. And that's what happens with these players and these coaches too. You find a way to stick it out. You build a relationship. If he would have stayed with Eric Spoelstra, maybe he gets a couple more. Who knows?
So you don't think that the continuity, consistency, reps, the experience, the battle scars, the war stories that they accumulate along the way, that doesn't make it, I'm not trying to say that makes it easier, but that makes you, that's not a factor that should be attached to some of the success? Like,
No, I mean it's impressive, but the thing is, like, there's a reason why LeBron left to Miami, right?
yeah.
There's a reason why, because he felt like he couldn't win a championship unless he was surrounded by other great players.
And
You
had,
just
but so
you would have
had these,
joined the top 3 shooting guard of all time in his prime,
yeah.
and Chris Bosh top 75?
It's getting close, but he should be. As of now, I don't
That
think he
I
will
can't
be for
even
another 10 years.
that roster. I don't Shane Battier, Ray Allen, Rashard Lewis,
I
Mike
mean,
Miller.
context.
No, dude, that
Because
those.
this isn't, because yes, these are guys that figured it out and they bought in and they, yes, have resumes that you respect. This wasn't Ray that was going against Kobe. It wasn't Shane that was guarding Kobe.
But it's still Ray
That
Allen.
version of them.
It's still Ray Allen. It's the same Ray Allen
Yeah,
that hit
sure.
that winner.
So you can't discredit Derek Fisher.
No, I'm not discrediting Derek Fisher, but I'm saying Derek
Just
Fisher
saying
was a
that no,
Laker.
that
He
Lakers squad was very legit.
wait. Are you talking about
With
the 09, 010?
yes, both of them, especially 10.
Okay, name me a top
With
75.
Meta?
Name me to stop. Name me a top 75 player on that team. Did Kobe have a top 75 teammate on that team? No, look at MJ's chips. Look at LeBron's chips.
Powell and Bosch are very close to each other.
No, Powell's not top 75.
You think Bosch is better than Powell?
Was Bosh better than Powell? It depends. I mean, that's probably closer, but I probably would give the edge to Chris Bosh, honestly. Even though Powell
Really?
was nice. Yeah, I would. Were you watching Chris Bosh in Toronto? Chris Bosh was so
Yeah,
underrated.
nah,
The
man,
way he
he's
stretched,
legit. He's
the way
legit.
he
No, and I have to big him up because he
stretched the
sacrificed on
floor,
top of it.
and
I understand.
he
And he played
transformed.
defense. He wore the burden of I've got to anchor this defense for us to
And
max out. That's respect. As did
and
Powell.
his ability to stretch the floor at a time when the NBA was transitioning from a big man in the post to playing on the perimeter. He really revolutionized.
Powell's playmaking, Powell's IQ,
Yeah, but
Powell's consistency is
time out. We gotta backstep. This is besides the point because Powell was Kobe's second best player.
I feel
LeBron's
that.
second best player was Dwayne
We're
Wade.
still comparing those teams. I'm not giving Mario Chalmers that much credit. I'm
Yeah,
not
but
giving, like I said,
come on, bro.
I think that Battier and Ray Allen and those versions, and I got it. I got you. D Wade is the card that tips the scale in LeBron's favor. And I'm not saying that
It's
is
just more.
only it.
It's more
So
than
is
D Wade. It's more
Anthony
than
Davis
D.
is top 75?
Yes,
I think he probably will be
easily.
and probably
He's
is.
better than Chris Bosh, and he's better than Pau Gasol. And that's not even
Love that.
questionable.
Love that. Kyrie's top 75. We agree.
I mean, for political reasons, he was not considered in
He
the
may
top
yeah, right.
75.
He may
Like
not be,
he
but right.
definitely is over Dame and over anybody else you want to plug him into.
Love's not, right?
No, Love wasn't, but I mean, at the time they traded
Not
for,
calling him a bum. Yeah, he's not chopped liver.
he was getting 30-30 games, bro, when he was in Minnesota, and when he was traded,
How Bynum, Meta, Lamar,
stop including Meta.
Phil, he didn't say. What do you mean? Don't include me? Don't say better. He didn't win the championship.
Yeah, he won it, but Meta was on the downside of his career by the time he was on the Lakers. You look at his
That's what
time.
I'm saying about 40-year-old Ray Allen.
Yeah, but that roster from top to bottom was completely different. Like Jordan Farmar, Sasha Vujacic, Ronnie Turioff, DJ Benga. Dude, it's not even
That
questionable.
but that's naming the bottom of the roster. Eric Dampier was on the team that lost to the freaking Eric Dampier. Carlos Arroyo was playing the Mavericks in the finals as well.
Well, you used all your cap space where you literally couldn't have a point guard, but Mario Chalmers was the third overall pick. You had D Wade, you had LeBron.
Mario Chalmers was not third overall.
He was. Look it up, bro. He was.
Continue.
Yes, he was third
All I'm
overall.
saying is that, and what the argument
Rashard
was,
Lewis, bro.
Rashard Lewis was 35. This
He
was
wasn't,
not,
and
it was not the
he wasn't
Rashard
missing.
that went against Kobe in 08,
He
in
was not
09.
missing. He was not missing from three, but Rashard was insane. Mike
He was a
Miller,
shooter.
Mike
Congrats,
Miller,
right.
Mike
Yes.
Miller was insane. They just played the Shane Battier. Don't even get me. Don't disrespect Shane Battier because he
I'm
was.
not disrespecting Shane Battier. I'm doing what you did for Rod Artest, saying
But
that
listen,
no, don't include him. He's on the
so
back end
so
of his career. So
this
was
is
Shane.
this is
He didn't
this
play
is
for another team
this is what I would rather
after
do
that.
because I'm kind of playing the I'm kind of playing the
Mario Chalmers was 34th overall.
34th. Are you sure?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
I think he's
Yes.
the third overall pick. Anyways,
Norris
I don't.
Cole was a second rounder.
North Cole was. I remember when he was drafted, but I will say, I don't want to play this
Because what the
position.
argument was, keep that, don't lose it. What the argument was is that, look, it's kudos to those who stuck it out and who had the longevity in front office that, hey, we made the marriage work. It wasn't always pretty. It's also something else. People chased opportunities and not gotten them. It's not light work to go start over somewhere and get it done.
Okay,
Now I get you. He has had good teammates.
okay,
Every
because
championship team in the last 15 years has had multiple elite players.
yes, I think all I want to say is I think this conversation took a turn in the sense that I was trying to argue against why LeBron is not the GOAT, and that actually is not where I should be coming from because LeBron's amazing and he's done great things. I want to argue why Kobe is the GOAT because LeBron's always been in a position. He's always been in a position where his teams were trying to compete for championships. Always. They might have fallen short, but they were always trying to compete for championships. Kobe won three with Shaq. And in his prime years, from '04 all the way up until 2008, when they got back to the finals, uh, with the Pau trade.
He was he was in he
This
was
is this
on an
is why
island.
that's straight to cord. He was in the this was we talked about prime, peak athleticism, peak everything, right? He is at his best. Smith Parker, Chris Mim, Kwame Brown, whoever you want to out on that roster going to the playoffs. And the Lakers just were incompetent from the top of their organization and they didn't want to surround them with the pieces to win. Like they had different plans. They wanted to develop Andrew Bynum, which eventually did pay off. But you have Kobe openly talking about how like Jason Kidd is someone he really wants to play with. and they're not offering him the opportunity to. They don't want to make
the
a
Chris
trade.
Paul trade.
Yeah, they're not, and that was Kobe's prime years, right? So it's not even a question to me that if Kobe just gets one competent all-star teammate next to him at that point in his career, that he goes back to a finals. Like that's not even a question. They went against the Phoenix Suns in '06 with that with that roster.
Great
They
series, yeah. Hell
to
of a
7 games. Like he single-handedly was carrying a team like I've never seen before. Like
right.
actually,
And that team also got, they got bounced as well.
yeah,
That they lost to.
they to the Suns, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they lost in 7, and he
No,
was
I'm saying the Suns got bounced too. So
all in the
but
next
no,
round.
I get you. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying my point is that Kobe when he was supposed to be winning championships and being
I get you.
surrounded
No,
by
missed
championship,
opportunity.
but it was to the point where he put pressure on the organization and said, you know, I want to leave because it was very clear though. It wasn't just because we're not good enough and we're not winning. It was that they didn't want to compete. They didn't want to surround him with the players that he needed
Like to spite him almost. Right.
to compete. And he was like, I want to go anywhere else. I want to go to the Clippers. I want to go to Chicago. I just need to get out of here because I want to win. I'll go to Memphis. Jerry West was
Yeah,
in
y'all are
Memphis.
on BS. Yeah.
Yeah, he wanted to leave. And when they got him one piece, because all Lamar was there, and Bynum was there, all those people were there. All they got him was Powell. They got him
No,
one
trust me,
player.
man. I mean, that's a lot for Javaris Crittenton.
But the thing is,
That's
nobody
a heck of
counts
a
that.
haul, and Marcus All too. No, bro. And fundamentally in this conversation too, like I said, I don't. This happens with us, and I tell this to people that I grew up. That I tell this to people that I know now, because people identify me without knowing me or growing up with me as an LA guy, as a Laker fan. Oh, you probably like, I. So I don't have to do the. I don't get put on LeBron Island, like versus Kobe or versus anybody else as much now than I did growing up when they were on opposite conferences and rivals and two best players in the league. I
Mhm.
support, trust me, my dad will argue to the end of time. And this man makes a phenomenal argument for Kobe being the best player of all time. And I will, an argument that you almost can't disagree with.
But the thing is, he doesn't. I love Kobe's my goat, but I know like the numbers and all those things. They don't support him. That's why to me, it's not like the championships. He doesn't have the most championships, right? Jordan has
But
6.
was there a colder freaking 21-year-old ever?
Yeah, but it's not just based off of being a 21-year-old. Like it's when you look at the totality of his career, you can't go by championships. LeBron has, better all-time stats than Kobe. So he doesn't really have an advantage in multiple different places. And there's a variety of
You
reasons
have to,
why.
yeah, you have to be having a high level conversation with somebody to for them to comprehend why you're saying that it's Kobe
Exactly,
despite
exactly,
some of
exactly.
these things.
And it's literally just it's the eye test, right? It's when you watch Kobe at his best
It
going up against
shouldn't be
somebody else.
rocket science that if you thought Mike is the GOAT, well, guess what? Kobe had every lick of skill that Mike had. Not saying, and not even just throw extras on it and say he had more and all that, but he did. But
He
he
did,
did.
he
And if you
did, he did, and he can play. He was playing against like he would play against the best, and he would adjust, and he would be competitive. Like
and
it
that's
was
the
so.
and not to try and say that this is why Bron again, but that's where the root of that argument came from, is because even so I could do the same for Kobe if we're doing Kobe versus Jordan. All right, look, Jordan, y'all were on cruise control because y'all knew y'all were better than everybody.
Mm,
Not that you didn't have to still prove it and go play the game and do all this and that. You do for a fact. And that's not to even say that the competition was inferior in the 90s because no, it was not. Cool. You know what I'm saying?
it definitely was.
No, thank you.
It
Nobody
definitely
else
was.
was sniffing Chicago by the time the 90s hit, and they knew that. They knew that and they lived it, walked it, breathed it. That's what the era was. If you put Kobe back there, stop it. He's doing the exact same thing. If
And
you
if you
put
put LeBron
LeBron
back
there,
there,
he's doing the exact yes. And so it's like, all right, well, look, yeah, Kobe had Phil the whole time too. And if you want to say he had Shaq, well, he also did it without Shaq. So what's the argument now? You're saying
yeah,
that Jordan was a better defender than Kobe? No, Jordan intimidated those fools better. And yes, they weren't doing things they were doing tonight. They weren't doing things they're doing today in the way that the league is at the time versus what it was during their eras too. Look, man, the West during Kobe's heyday with Dirk and with freaking Duncan and with Nash and
they wanted no
eventually
part of
having to
him,
make it out was the real deal. It was the
and
real deal of a conference
they
the
wanted no
whole
part of
time.
him. People put Tim Duncan above Kobe all time. The Spurs
Yeah,
never wanted.
they're smoking dope. They're
They
smoking
never
dope. And I
wanted to
and I
see
and I
Kobe.
try to argue for Duncan to people who think he's mid, but
No,
no,
he's
you're
definitely not
smoking.
mid.
You're
But they
smoking.
definitely didn't want to see Kobe. And that year that Kobe tore his Achilles, when they were the 8th seed, were they the 8th seed or the 7th seed? Well, they were going up against the San Antonio Spurs in the first round. I will die on this hill. I like I believe it to my core that if Kobe was healthy, playing that series, they would have defeated San Antonio. He was on a mission that year to prove. So I've never seen, and he was 30, was he 34 at the time, 35 at the time? Like he was really, like I've never seen him more determined in his career. And he had that stretch at that, like he might have been one of the best stretches of his career, playing defense, carrying the team. He did everything at that point. And yeah, it would have been so fun to watch. But and if they win that series with that momentum that they had that whole time, I just don't even know what to tell you. Like at that point, like could Kobe win his sixth ring at 34, 35, or at least go to the finals coming from behind
Yeah.
like that? Like that does it to his resume, and then his stats completely change as well because that Achilles. I mean, injuries happen though. You can't say what
Hmm.
ifs. His stats all got kind of corrupted, but
I mean, yeah, and he still averaged 30 for the career, just about. So,
he blocked LeBron in the All Star game too, twice. So no, I love Bron, but
hey, but
Bron's stats too. Bron's
Kobe
stats are
oh 04
different.
to oh 08 was LeBron from oh 05 to oh 09.
Um,
Not that,
I think it was worse though.
Cleveland, it was. Because but in the sense of
Mo Williams,
Cleveland was trying. They were trying to
they
find
were trying.
somebody to put next to him. They just the league wasn't the league that it is now, where stars can really, you know,
Yeah,
influence what happens. But they were trying. They went and got Antoine Jameson and
and he was
Mo
nice.
Williams, but he wasn't who he was before he got him when
Yeah,
he
yeah. But
was
I
playing with
liked
them.
Antoine. He was,
But yeah,
you
they
know,
got Shaq and
and the Shaq thing. Yeah, definitely.
Z, Big Z was a hooper,
I
but
like Z. See,
Mo
these are underrated players though. They really are. Like these
Mo
players are underrated.
Williams,
Mo Williams
he was a injury replacement all star. Shout out.
he was nice though.
They won
Like
66 games with Mo Williams.
he dropped a 50 piece in Minnesota like at the end of his career.
He had like 55, I think.
But in all seriousness though, like these
So
players,
did Andre Miller.
Andre Miller, yeah, yeah. That's true. So did D Rose. Shout out D Rose. Um,
Yo.
but I think that these players aren't as flashy, and just because you play in a smaller market like Cleveland, you're not going to get the recognition that you deserve, right? That's just the nature of it. But you had Wally Serbia. I don't think he was bad though.
They
Like
did have Wally. Yeah, man.
what it sounds like.
Danielle,
It
Larry
sounds,
Hughes.
but the thing is, like, it really sounds like we're laughing about it. But if you watch the footage, like, it sounds like these players are bad, but they really weren't. Like, they were solid role players. Like, Wally was actually, he was a solid role player. Like, go back and watch. Wally was nice. Sasha Pavlovich, I don't know about him to be honest.
Nah, he was a bum. He was a bum.
Anthony Carter, come on, dog. Nah. they tried. But the thing is, at least they were in a position where they were
Ruby
trying.
Gibson.
They were, yeah,
Delonte.
3-point champ, bro. Delonte was smooth.
Lefty.
Watching Delonte was like, to me, it was like magical because he just looked so nice. Like his game was smooth. He was. I mean, he wasn't as good as he looked because he had a really nice form. He had a crisp handle. He wasn't as good as he looked, but he wasn't like a scrub. Like Delonte was solid. We have chemistry issues with Delonte and LeBron and stuff like that. We won't go into that, but
oh man,
they were trying to win. The Lakers weren't. That's the difference. They were trying to win, and when they took action and just got Kobe a star, they won 2 straight chips. I mean, they lost one. They won 2 straight. But at that point, though, he was at the end of his prime, but he maximized on it. So imagine if in the peak of his prime, he just had, another all-star next to him, or they just got him something. Jordan was blessed. Jordan was blessed. He had Scottie the whole time. He had Phil the whole time, like you said. I mean,
and they kept getting better. Added Rodman, added Kukoc.
Yeah, exactly. And LeBron got the opportunity of
Horace Grant wasn't a bum.
Yeah. And LeBron, on the flip end, to his credit, like his team just wasn't good enough and they tried.
Craig Hodges was not a bum.
See, I don't even know what that is.
Oh man, lethal shooter. I understand it now.
And LeBron transformed the ability of player empowerment and really players having more control in terms of their construction of their team's construction.
So you're saying he's the GOAT?
No, I'm not saying he's the GOAT.
Nah, the decision. Yeah, was a turning point in the league, though.
Yeah, it definitely was. It definitely was. I mean, it led to Kevin Durant going to. If LeBron doesn't go to Cleveland,
the decision.
Yeah, an ESPN special just for that. If LeBron never goes to Miami, Kevin Durant never goes to Golden State. That's just the reality.
And that's meeting the reality that you created. Imagine his resume if he was able to just go toe to toe against Steph and Clay and them instead. Like you saw how motivated he was in 2015, man.
Yeah, that was so fun.
When other people went down.
That was so fun.
He had to live with the monster that he created. That's this era of look, now go beat them.
And it puts him in a tough position. Not gonna happen. Because, I mean, and Kyrie, he won Kyrie. Like, I can't stop raving about Kyrie enough. Like, that's one of my favorite players. He always was. And his role in that championship run and on that team was insane.
No, man, give us some plugs, bro, Jake. Give us some plugs, man. Let's get out of here.
I mean,
where can they find you?
You guys know, if you're interested, Hoopsall on Instagram. We'll be expanding very soon. We have some in-person content coming up. I have one interview up on YouTube and on Facebook, but at Hoopsall, yeah, keep you updated. That's where you can find me. If you want to know my personal, buy me lunch first and then we can talk. But yes, sir. That's my plug. Appreciate you, bro.
My dog. Good stuff, bro. This was fire. This was heat. Way longer than 30, 40. I didn't check the time, but it's that time.
Yes, sir.
We'll get this out expeditiously. Thank you for listening, watching, tuning in. Make sure that you like, follow, and subscribe wherever you are listening, watching, or tuning in. And know that we appreciate you for listening. We appreciate it. Hope that y'all enjoyed this ride we went on tonight. But we'll have some more to come because this is go time in the season. This is, you got to separate wheat from chaff, as ADU's now investigator George Knapp likes to say. That's my tangent, man. I'm done. I'm cooked. This was real, though.
Yeah. Appreciate you, bro. This was fun. We got to do it again. And prayers up again for those affected by the wildfires. And, everybody.
100%.
Yeah. Appreciate you.
Be well.
You too, bro.
Till next time.
Yes, sir.